Yo,
You didn't even count the rest of the numbers.
but I gave the beat. I gave the beat. That's all you need. That's all you need.
I'm so confused.
I said 3, 2, and then so 1 and 0 are implied. Yeah, also -1, but that's a long past. No.
-1.
Yeah, -1. And I did it in
Wood.
in the same tempo as I did in 3 and 2. Hey,
Hey,
welcome.
Manetheren.
Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. This is the show where we talk about the issues, the topics, the thoughts, the stuff on your mind, whatever you're going through in life. You know how life is. It can be hard. It can be great. It could be a challenge, and it could be fun. And we just want to be a friend that walks alongside of you for a little bit of a time every week to talk about those things. A lot of times you guys know how to solve your own problems. You don't need us, but it's nice to have a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of a friendly chat, a little bit of an extra perspective to help us along our way. And that's what we hope to give. We aren't professional psychologists or psychiatrists or anything along the lines, but we can give you our best. We've lived lives ourselves, and so have you guys. So feel free to put into the chat anything that you find might help in these topics that we might cover today. If you have a topic for us, please go to don'tworrywednesday.com and submit a topic there. Or since we're kind of low on topics, you can feel free to just put it right in the chat. If you have a topic, put it right in the chat, and we'll do our best to get to it. Yeah, I think that's the entire intro. Is there anything else I didn't say?
I don't know.
I
was drinking mug water. I had tuned out. I was
tuned
just
down.
enjoying. I was enjoying this delectable
treat
mug water.
Ooh,
that
mug water. Sounds so delicious.
It's very muggy.
Muggy. Mug. That's weird. What does that even?
I mean,
the etymology
muggy is
of that.
Humid, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what that means. It's very humid in my cup.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
it's very muggy in my mug. I'm getting a muggy mug. That's funny. Now that makes me question why it's called muggy. If it has anything to do with mugs. But I guess that's an adventure for later. Buggy.
It might be
bug.
Riku. I'm not sure. I don't remember what we talked about a while. You've mentioned many things to me over the past while.
Yeah, what was that one specific thing that I'm not going to... Yeah, that's great. That's great. Welcome, by the way, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited. It's always awesome to be on Don't Worry Wednesday. This is our favorite part of the week, just to be here and talk with you guys. How are you all doing today? What have you guys been up to? You guys do anything fun this week? If not, did you do anything not fun this week? People usually remember the things they did that were not fun over the things that they did that were. So, kind of just human nature.
Got a new haircut. Boom. I got a haircut today, too.
Dang. And looking slick, man. That's great. New haircut. What'd you go with? Long or short? Wait, I guess you can't just choose long hair. Like, I got a new haircut. Oh yeah, what'd you do? My hair's longer now.
I really need to get glasses. I read Manglios's
oh no. Yeah, well, that's
there,
dyslexia.
And all I read was I had porn on Saturday and it was fun. And I was like,
oh no.
Wait, what? Like,
that's horrible. That's so horrible. Do we have to censor that? I don't know.
I mean,
I know.
Hey, you have a soundbite in my server that you said on Don't Worry Wednesday.
Okay.
Where you said, hey, if you guys want to make lots of money, just go into the porn industry. I'm not even
that's
kidding.
Right. That's true. That's true. And there was not some advice that was directing you not to do it.
Right, yeah. If all you're interested in is money.
All you're interested in is money, go just sell yourself, right? Like, there's more to life than that. There's so much more to life than money. and selling yourself
Mhm.
for it. Yeah,
Yes.
that was the point of that. But yeah, fair enough. I guess that's the soundbite. Oh my gosh.
Yep. That's
Oh, that's
what
how it goes, though.
it's in there.
That's funny.
Oh man. All
You
right.
say anything,
And
take out of context, though.
Riku, I remember now. I remember this topic. I'm just like I have this thought. I remember. I remembered. No, I did not check my Discord DMs to remember it.
Mm. I trust you.
Yes, I saw it in there. Yes. Thank you, Riku. So yeah, that's a good one for us to talk about as well. We do have a few topics that came in, which is awesome.
That sounds like a fantastic haircut, Manatharin. Monotherin. How do you say your name? If you can find a way to
Manatharin. Manatharin. I would say
Manatharin?
Manatharin, but that
Monotherin.
that's what it,
Manatharin.
when I see that it looks like Manatharin, but
Okay.
that's just me.
Yeah, you're probably right. It sounds
I
probably right.
could have the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Mm-hmm.
That is entirely possible.
Yeah. Oh, Manatharin.
Manatharin.
Manatharin. Okay.
Is it mana?
Oh wait,
or
is it
mana?
mana or mana? That's the question. That unfortunately is the distinction. So, story about
Manatharin.
Mana. If you remembered how Kat pronounced it, that's correct. Okay.
I don't remember that either.
I think she said mana. Manatharin.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, so what's interesting about mana is in the West, in America, and probably all of Europe, who knows, people say mana instead of mana. But, yeah, magic, mana. Like wizards.
Mana.
Yeah.
Manatharin.
People say mana instead of mana, and it's technically okay, though it comes from Greek, mana, which comes from the Hebrew, manhwa, which translates to, what is it?
Bread from heaven.
It's bread from heaven.
What is this stuff?
Yeah, they didn't have a name for it. They're just like, what is this stuff? And so they called it mana. Manhwa. What is it? Manhwa. What is itness?
What even is it?
And that became the source of magic in a lot of fairy tales and stuff. Like, what is it? I don't know. It's magic. It's what is it? It's the power of being able to do something unmysterious. What is it? I don't know. It's mana. Oh yeah,
that's
and then
pretty
it's
wild.
manhwa. Yeah, that's Chinese manga. That's right, Riku. That's right.
It is rad, and rad is a rad word, man. I'll tell you what.
Nice. Good choice.
I like that word. I say that once in a while. My kids look at me like I'm an idiot, and then I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of my job to look like an idiot to them, actually. So I do my job well.
Yep. Good. Good.
Win.
Awesome. Rad is so rad.
Rad is rad. You look great today, Super Neon Blue.
Yeah. Jeez.
I barely saw you just for like a second.
And
I didn't get to wave back at you. I thought you might have been waving at me with all the cups in your hand or whatever.
Yeah.
And I saw it as you were walking out the door. And I'm like, oh. And I think I was holding on to my mug water, and I had to like put it down and waved ish.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was an ish of a wave.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
perfect. Awesome. Well.
Hello.
Welcome everybody. You guys are so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Happy to be here again. Don't Worry Wednesdays. Literally like one of my favorite things that I get to do every week. Great to be with you guys. Flan, hey, welcome.
Cats, are you waving now? Or are you listening, not watching?
Wait, yeah, that's true. Cats, you would wave if you saw Joe, but you're seeing Joe right now. Okay, there you go. There you have it.
All right, cool.
All right. Hi. Hi. All right. What do you say we do a topic?
Well, hey, that's good. That's a great idea. Riku's came in a while ago.
Okay.
if we want to do this one, we can start with that one. I know that Riku is here. It's very, very late
Oh, right, because they're
where Riku is
they're in that side of the world.
in a different time zone. It's very, very late for you too. It's so late. It's tomorrow morning.
That's right. It is currently 10 a.m. in my time zone. It's not even a Wednesday.
It's not even. It's Thursday.
It's
You
Thursday.
see our screen. It says even if it's Thursday. That we
That's
did
right.
that even before we knew
That's
Ryan
true.
was gonna move to a different time zone where it was gonna be the next day. We just did that,
Yeah,
and
yeah, that was before there was any, I don't know, like, what do you say, probability, chance, understanding,
we didn't
concept?
have any clue. We didn't have any clue that was even a possibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Probability. Maybe that's the word I was looking for. Possibility. That's a good one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Happy early birthday. Da-da-da-da. Are you gonna be 29 like me?
I hope they will be. Or younger.
Almost.
Almost
You're
29.
so close.
Mm-hmm.
You're so close.
One of these days, you're gonna pass Joe up. Joe's.
You are.
You know,
You're gonna be past.
you're gonna be older than 29.
Ryan passed me a long time ago.
I did.
Long time ago. Look at that grizzly beard.
I know.
It's just.
I seriously. I just mentioned it before the show too. I was like, I need to shave this thing off. It's getting so
Shave it,
long.
man.
Yeah. If it was pointing upwards,
Shave your head. Should shave your head too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's not gonna happen.
Actually, no, don't do that.
Yeah, that'd be awful.
29. Stay
Mhm.
29.
29 forever.
That way you never get to be 30.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. I never want to be 30.
Mm-hmm. Jeez. Yeah, 30. That's disgusting.
Right?
Well, you know, Joe was born 29 though, so he was quite the old chap. Quite the old baby.
I was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing I wasn't 29 sized when I was born.
What does that even look like?
Like as big as a 29-year-old. Like as
I
big as I am
know.
now.
I know.
Right? Like,
so.
that'd be very painful.
Oh, I was just thinking about you fitting into the clothes, but I wasn't thinking about the other stuff implied. Ouch. That's more than painful. Oh man, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Moving on.
Yeah, let's do a topic.
Let's do a topic instead of that.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well,
right.
we got some here. Again, if you have a topic for us and you want us to check it out, go to don'tworrywednesday.com, or otherwise feel free to put it in the chat for us. We are running low on topics, so it would be much helpful if anyone would submit one. Fear not, though, we do have topics, and I will figure out which one we want to do.
We got those two new ones, and we also have the one from Riku, and Riku's came like a month ago.
Okay.
Or three weeks ago or something when we were calling for topics.
Okay.
So if we're going first come, first serve, because I dropped the ball and didn't remember.
I think that there's another topic.
Is there?
Yeah.
In the thing?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So when I asked it's funny because I asked, hey, do you want me to help you process these? And you see you're on the last one right now, and there was 2 in here.
Yeah,
and I was like,
now there's another
okay.
one. This one just came in.
Oh.
This just in.
This just in. Topic submitted by August Stars. All right.
Golly, I just read Riku's. It said, if you have an argument or time-sensitive topic, but it's not argument, it's urgent. My gosh.
maybe glasses would be good. I'm just
I do have my gamer glasses. I could wear them. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah. Read the chat.
Read chat. Although, but then if I do this, then you see
the
all
glare. You can see the chat in your glasses.
Uh-huh.
We can all read it.
They look good on me.
They look good on you, Joe. Just pop in and say hi. Hey, y'all.
Do I look smarter?
Thank you.
Hello, olive oil.
What is love, love? Baby, don't hurt me. Copyright. I don't want to get striked. Otherwise, I'd continue. That song is a jam.
That's my
Big
jam.
song. Yeah, well, it's my bread and butter. I don't know. I don't know. And that's not true. Anyways,
Yeah.
so neither of these care if they're here, or both of these. I guess this one's anonymous. And then also, let me check.
Okay. August wants to be present.
Okay, August wants to be present.
August is not here yet. August said, I'll be in podcast mode for like the first 20 minutes. So we got time to do a topic.
Okay, awesome.
We're only 19 minutes in. We're not to the 20th minute yet.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, awesome. Well, we'll jump into one of these real quick. Anotherin, Anotherin. There we go. I know you had mentioned, or I had mentioned to you during Kat's stream that if you had a topic, you could feel free to do one here. So you can put that in the chat, or you can go to don'tworrywednesday.com. We'll try to get to it. But yeah, thank you so much for stopping by. Let's start with the anonymous one. How's that?
Okay.
That sound
we can
good?
totally do that. Let's start off with a bang.
Yeah.
This is a banger.
The banger of a topic. Oh wow.
Banger topic. Yeah, it's long.
I'm just gonna put some spacing in here for just randomly, just so that my eyes can follow this topic a little bit better, because it's pretty big, which is totally fine. Yeah. Wow. All right. I'm just finding random sentences and putting in spaces. Cool. All right, we're ready to go. I'm
ready. I can read it.
Can you?
I can read it.
Proud of you, man. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put the topic up, and we can all read it together if you so desire. Feel free to read it with us. If not, you can close your eyes and imagine you're looking at it. It's some real imagination though. It reads, this one's from Anonymous. It's titled, My Brother's Girlfriend's Strict Mom. My Brother's Girlfriend's Strict Mom is the title here, and it reads as follows. Hi, I wanted to reach out to you because I'm feeling quite concerned about the issue of some important people in my life. My brother's girlfriend, Vera, is truly an amazing person, warm, sympathetic, and kind-hearted. They've been together for about 1.5 years now. Despite their different personalities and occasional differences, their bond is deep and genuine. Unfortunately, they're currently facing a significant crisis in their relationship, and the thought of a breakup is weighing heavily on both of them. Their story began when my brother went off to college and met Vera. She's living with her parents while he lived alone in an apartment owned by our family. However, due to Vera's mom's strict rules, they don't get to spend as much time together as they'd like. Overnight stays, even at our family house, where Vera would feel safe, are simply out of the question. It's as if our family is a world apart for Vera's mom, while my brother is eager for us to all connect. Both my brother and Vera are deeply committed individuals, grounded in their faith and sense of responsibility. Yet, Vera's mom exerts a controlling influence over her, making it difficult for Vera to assert herself and leading to struggles with her mental health. Despite her efforts, she finds it hard to confront her mom, as no argument seems to sway her. It's a complex and challenging family dynamic, and my heart truly goes out to them. It's heartbreaking to see their relationship strained by external interferences. No, just interference. Whatever. External interference, potentially leading to its demise. Vera needs time and space to navigate these challenges, while my brother feels frustrated by the lack of agency she has in making decisions for herself. They've tried various compromises. My brother visited Vera, accompanied her on trips with her friends, spent time with her family. But he feels frustrated when he doesn't receive the same from her. Thank you so much for taking the time to read this and for being a supportive presence in our lives. Warm regards, Anonymous. Wow. Yeah, that is a banger. Geez.
Banger, man. I told you.
That is
What?
a scenario.
Did you accidentally put the end screen on?
For a moment.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I was
just a moment.
I didn't see it. I was like, all of a sudden I'm seeing in the chat like it's over.
It's over. You guys leave
and
now.
I'm like, oh no, like
Yeah.
what?
Sorry about that.
Wait a minute. Wait. All right.
oh, it's time to do a topic. Yeah. No. Okay. I guess it ended.
Boom.
Boom. Anyways, yeah. This is relatable, even if this isn't like my experience. It's just relatable. I know plenty of families that are very controlling. I know I have friends who this is very similar to a scenario they lived. And my point of saying that is, I suppose to some degree that you're not alone, but also, or, I guess your brother in this case is not alone, but also that there's possibility to walk through it. I know a particular couple who went through a challenge like this, and now they're happily married and living together, and they're having a lovely, wonderful life together. But I've also seen it go the other way. So this is a challenging thing, and needs to be gone through. And it definitely, avoiding it is not going to be helpful, right? And so I appreciate deeply that you're sharing this topic with us, and I hope that in some way, whatever we can add to it from our individual perspectives and lives, that you can communicate that effectively to your brother and to his girlfriend, Farah, and that headway can be made sincerely. I'm glad to hear that they have an operating relationship and that it's not terrible, but yeah, something like this can easily get in the way and destroy it. So I understand that, and your concern is real. Your concern is accurate and fair. So there's a reason. Yeah, basically, there's reason to be concerned, and I think you know that, and you're not over worrying or overthinking it. So thank you so much for having the heart to want to help. I think that's amazing, Anonymous, and I appreciate you so much for that, genuinely. So with that said, I'm gonna move out of the way here. I'm gonna give it over to Joe, who's definitely spent time in dealing with relationships like this for friends, possibly even in himself. So yeah, I'm gonna give this over to Joe, and I think that's the best thing I can do. So, take it away.
I don't know if it's the best thing you can do.
Well, it's better than the alternatives I could think of at the time. All right. The second best thing I could do is drink this coffee.
Yay! That's a good thing for you to do.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Anonymous, I really, really appreciate you sending this message, this topic. This is difficult to unpack.
Yeah.
Super Neon Blue has some great stuff in the chat. When you're controlled your whole life, it's extremely difficult to make your own choices because you always seek permission. Making choices is a skill and can be extremely difficult with no practice. There is fear in controlling relationships. It's not a matter of putting the mother in front of her boyfriend, and it really isn't always that simple. So yeah, I can remember dealing with this situation. It's really tough, and I don't know, like all of my personal opinions about relationships aside, um, this is tricky, and I apologize. I'm so sorry that you got to go through this because I know it's heartbreaking, and I know that it's a struggle. Eventually, I will say I remember counseling my friend and his fiance. Um, they were kind of dealing with this. They were looking at the prospect of moving to a different state. And she was very hesitant because of her mom and because of how controlling her mom was, and how it was almost like this great offense that she would even consider moving away from her family, and like all this kind of stuff. And I flat out just told her, I was like, look, you can make your own decisions. Obviously, I mean, you're an adult, you make your own decisions. I will tell you this, that if if you uh if you allow your mom to control this and you don't go because of this situation. Now, if there are other reasons for not wanting to move, fine, right? Like if there's more than just this, but if this is the last reason you're thinking about not moving just because you don't want to make your mom upset or whatever, um here's what's going to happen. Like, your fiance is going to feel like he's second best in your relationship. So you're going to have to understand. This is what I was telling her. I was like, just understand that. Now, I don't like, do you feel like your prospective husband is first place in your life as far as relationships go, or second? And she was like, well, he's first. And I was like, okay, then if that's true, that's awesome. I will tell you, if you decide to not go, be for the only reason because your mom is going to be offended, he's going to feel as though he's second. And he's always going to feel like he's competing. And there's always going to be that situation. And the other thing too is, as Super Neon Blue said, when you're controlled, it's tough, and there's fear and there's all kinds of stuff, right? But if she had not stepped up to her mom and said, look, I'm going to do what I think is right, and I feel like this is the right move to make, and I'm sorry if that makes you upset. I'm not trying to make you upset, but this is what I feel I need to do. If she was unable to do that and she cowered back and stepped back and allowed her mom to control that situation, then there's no end. There's no end to the controlling until she decides to step up and face her mom in that situation. And unfortunately, Anonymous, for your brother, there isn't a whole lot he can do except be loving and supportive to his girlfriend. He can't go in. Well, I guess he can. He can do whatever he wants, right? He can go in and like shout at the mom or the parents or whoever and be like, blah, blah, blah. This is messed up. La, 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 la. He can go in and freak out. He can go in and try and sell the idea. He can do all kinds of stuff like, this doesn't make any sense. He can talk until he's blue in the face, and it's not going to make a difference until Vera decides to step up and confront the situation of a controlling parent. It's very difficult, especially when you still depend on your parents to some degree, especially, I mean, all that kind of like, there's all that. You always run a risk if you have a controlling parent and you stand up to them because of something you feel is right or wrong or whatever, right? Like, if you just feel a certain way and you stand up to your parents, there's a possibility that they might just be like, okay, well, find a different place to live then. You're kicked out. You're out of here. And it's, I've seen that happen. I've seen parents make their kids' lives a living hell. I've seen parents make their kids' spouses' lives a living hell because of their controlling nature. And it can be really, really difficult to navigate. So I will tell you this, Anonymous, that all is not lost in this relationship, but there is a great possibility that this could be a major struggle for a long time, and it could dissolve their relationship. It could make it deteriorate because the controlling parent could be implanting a choice into Vera's head. It's either us or him. It's either us or him. You know, either you're going to respect us or you're going to respect him. Either you're going to listen to us or you're going to listen to him. And, you know, like it can constantly drive a wedge in that relationship. And if they're looking at a long-term romantic relationship, which the end of that is marriage and starting your own family, right? You leave the families that you're in, you come together as one. I mean, you hear this at every wedding, right? Like you go to a wedding and they talk about this, that the husband and the wife, they leave their parents and they come together and they form a new family. If either one of those doesn't make that separation, it'll destroy the marriage. It will. If you if for whatever reason, right? There will always be, or it will make it exceptionally difficult. And if a parent gets offended by their kid having a boyfriend or a girlfriend and is like, wow, you know, and puts this type of situation, this type of choice in the mix of things, then what kinds of things do you think they're going to have to say about that spouse when they're not around?
Hmm.
Do you think they're going to say nice things about that spouse? Probably not. Because if they're already controlling anyway, and if they're already going to be offended if their child leaves their family to start their own family, if they're already going to be offended by that, then of course they're going to gossip, they're going to backbite, they're going to do all kinds of stuff. They're going to try and poison the relationship. There's all kinds of stuff are possible there. But hopefully what can happen is Vera will be able to eventually. Now, I don't know, like I said, I don't know the situation. It sounds like they're definitely of adult age of being able to make some of these decisions on their own. But if she's still living with her parents or still somewhat dependent on her parents or whatever, then they can definitely have some sway for now, you know, and it can be a little bit difficult. But until Vera is willing to step up and stand up against the controlling nature of her parents, it's going to be a really, really tough time.
Mm.
And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that, but I've never seen it go by easy in this type of situation. It has always been difficult. Whoever I saw go through it, whoever's experienced that it was. So, man, my heart goes out to your brother, to Vera as well, because this is definitely tricky, and it's definitely touchy. And you mentioned in here that what is this? It's affecting Vera's mental health. I think I saw. Oh,
Yep.
Vera's mom exerts a controlling influence over her, making it difficult for Vera to assert herself and leading to struggles with her mental health. So there are things that Vera is going to have to unpack as an adult. She might need to find therapy because when you have a controlling parent, you start to believe certain things about yourself. Like, I can't do things on my own. I'm not self-sufficient. I can't make it on my own. Who I am is not a worthwhile individual unless my parent, you know, like there's an extreme, there can be a downward spiral of mental health issues that come out of this. And so, Anonymous, your brother may find himself in a position of being a very having to be a very, very supportive person for Vera during this very, very difficult time of healing and growing and figuring out who she is as a person and discovering all that kind of stuff. And that in itself can be a really, really big struggle in a relationship too.
Mm-hmm.
If people are trying to figure out who they are and they haven't gotten that figured out yet, and they're in a romantic relationship and they're trying to make a couple thing work while this other person is trying to figure out who they themselves are, that's tricky too. So I don't know. It's tough to say. And maybe they need to take a break. Who knows? It's going to depend a lot on Vera and that whole dynamic with her mom, how all that kind of plays out, because man, as long as there's that controlling aspect, Vera may not really be herself yet until she makes that break and has the ability to figure out who she is as a person.
Mm.
So I don't know.
Mm.
That's about what I have to say for right now. I'm going to turn over to Ryan before I say something offensive. And maybe I already have, and I apologize, but Ryan,
I think you're good.
Save us from Joe, please.
No, you're good. I really like that story. You start with about we both share this friend, and I think that was such a pivotal moment for
huge.
Yeah, huge. And I think you being there in that moment was a God-given thing. It was the perfect thing, because I mean, obviously it worked out, and she needed that push. And so, in some way, maybe you can be that person for Vera. Now, maybe you guys aren't that close. Sounds like her gets along with your family, so there's been some dynamic there. I would say there might be a time where you have one-on-one time with her, or it's you and your brother and her, whatever it is. But she needs to have time to process this, to come to the realization and then process it in her head and then make the choice. As Joe was saying, when you're controlled, is usually out of a, as Super Neon Blue was saying, usually out of a situation of fear and safety. And as Joe was saying, you aren't yourself completely. She's not free to be who she is because she is dominated by the fear that controls her every thought and action, potentially, right? Maybe not everyone, but potentially. And so it leads to bad habits. It leads to habits of submission, which are unhealthy. And so there's a bit of that might need to happen, as Joe was saying. And I think that's good and beautiful. I'm excited for her, actually. I know of people who, after getting out of their own family, they've blossomed and they've dealt with their many mental problems, or at least many of them, maybe not all of them. I don't think any of us have solved ourselves completely, but regardless, they've come through and they've adapted and have become a lovely, wonderful, loving, awesome person. And so I am in part excited for Vera to go through that experience. I think there's a chance that because of Vera's age, potentially, we don't know it here because it wasn't given, but she may have to sort of wait it out. Sort of wait it out for a year or 2 or 3 or whatever it is. But so long that Vera doesn't give up on your brother, there's hope. And one day will come where Vera is old enough to make the decision that she gets to choose to be with your brother, and that would be lovely. If not, it's not the end of the world, of course, for either of them. Life goes on, and things can happen, and people can still grow and change, and so on and so forth. I think this is a great opportunity for her, but it's up to her, like Joe said, to make that decision, and that's very difficult. There's a lot going on in the chat, and all of it is great. I've been reading it, and yeah, you guys have some good perspectives here as well. But as for practical use, if you can, try to get one-on-one time with Vera, even if it's one-on-one time with your brother present. And I know it's a challenge and it's very difficult to step up to the plate where you begin a conversation about this. It takes a lot of guts, but if you have the heart to post this topic here, I think it proves that you have the heart and the courage to also talk with Vera a little bit. And I think that that's what's needed. Someone to come in, maybe from an outside perspective, outside party, and just kind of lay it out on the line and be honest and say, look, this is how it is. It's a little unfair because they're not engaged. It's a little unfair because they're not married. It's a little unfair because they're boyfriend, girlfriend. And when I say that's a little unfair, it's because it means something different. And the family that is hers is going to take advantage of that difference. Being, oh, that's just a boyfriend. It's not real. It's not your,
Well,
so, yeah.
That's true. But if the habit continues, it'll continue into the marriage.
Yeah, right. Absolutely will. Yeah. So that's why it's good to start good habits when you're starting.
Right.
Yeah.
If the habit of control and the habit of, and it's, oh, they're just boyfriend, girlfriend, and blah, 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 and so we can act this way. You know.
Oh, yeah. Even when they've passed that stage and they've gone to engagement or marriage, that will continue.
Then it'll continue. It'll continue. And it'll continue to be a problem. And so your brother has a difficult road ahead of him.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So is it worth it? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's for life to decide, I guess. See how things all
because Vera could end up taking a cue from her parents, from her mom. And because of the strain of that situation and an unwillingness to address it, an unwillingness to stand up, she may adopt some of those traits and turn them onto your brother. And then start to be that way with your brother. That's definitely a possibility too, because, if we're unwilling to address a situation with another person, there's a chance we can adopt that trait into our own lives because of our fear to address it.
Our fear to address it can eventually become a justifier for our many actions.
Exactly.
Which are not healthy.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
And so then it could absolutely poison things for the entirety of the marriage, and it could fall apart. I know I keep talking about marriage, but I mean, like, you're talking about a serious relationship here, right? I mean, that's what a relationship ends up as. I mean, ultimately, right? So I don't know. It's a pretty wild situation, I know. And you're right, Ryan, that they are just boyfriend and girlfriend right now, and so it's that way, whatever. But man, I've seen it happen.
I'm just saying it's unfortunate because that's their current status. It allows the parents it allows her brain to be under the idea that, well, I can't make big decisions, I can't make big choices, because it's not like I can just say, oh, he's my number one. We've been stuck, we've both made the covenantal bond where, now for sure it's on paper, it's in reality, he is my number one. She can't say that. So I'm just saying it's a little unfortunate she hasn't made that step yet, because if she had, then the rest of this would be solved. But, well, not exactly solved, but it would be easier at least. Where she is right now, it's a little bit more difficult because it requires her to stand up for something she has faith in, not something that is already real. And maybe that's even better. Maybe that's even better. I don't know. It's it's a mental game and it's mental gymnastics, and I don't know where she's at
Oh,
in
it's
that.
huge. It's
So,
huge, and you throw emotions in there, everything gets tricky. I will tell you this, Anonymous, that if your brother is willing to go down this path and be supportive and all this kind of stuff, which, hey, I he can make his own decisions, whatever. If he loves this girl, he can go for it. He can stick by her. It's going to be difficult. There's going to be a lot of sacrifices involved, and there's a possibility that because of this dynamic that's going on and because of what it might lead to, that he may invest so much of himself that he loses who he is.
mm,
There's that possibility as well.
mm-hmm.
And so he may give his whole self to this situation. And then it's kind of a crapshoot. You're kind of gambling right there, right?
Yeah.
And so this it's tricky, it's touchy, and I would advise caution.
Um, it's do you mind if I go down that venture down that road a little bit, since that's something that you have experienced
Sure.
to some degree?
Do
That way you don't
do you
have
want
to.
me to venture down it, or do you
Well,
want, like...
I'm all up for you venturing down it. I just know that it was a con. I was like, I could talk on that, but then again, Joe's the one that experienced it.
I would say don't. It's tough, and it's going to be tough for you to watch your brother do this too, right? To
Hmm.
watch him go through this, but it could deteriorate him. It could turn him into something he's not. It could make him forget who he is as a person. It could make him basically invest all of who he is into this person and supporting them when there's no guarantee that this is ever going to get fixed.
Right.
And it could turn into a monstrous situation, and he could totally lose who he is.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, caution. That's about all I want to say about it, because then I'm gonna get...
Yeah. Fair. I'll just say this.
So, but if you want to go down that road, go for it.
Okay, I'm not going to go down the full road. I'm just going to quickly touch on it. I'm just going to say,
Okay.
I would also, if you get a chance, talk to your brother, of course. Advise your brother. Another thing you can do, instead of talking to them, if you're concerned for that, if that's a little bit too hard and you don't think that your influence will make a big enough influence, I guess their respect for you is not high enough that you can make an influence in their lives, Anonymous. You can give them this Don't Worry Wednesday. I mean, we open up with this topic, so it's not going to be hard to just kind of skip to it. But I would just throw some caution towards your brother, and that is this. If Vera does not accomplish the goal of making him number one and not being controlled by her mom, right? If she never makes that decision, she is basically choosing to rope him into her situation.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
very true.
what's going to happen is your brother will then start having a lot of problems, because he has a problem on his hand that he cannot solve because he can't make the decision to solve it because it's not his fault. But he's choosing, as he's going to say, like, as a really good person, you'd think people think, oh, the really good thing to do is to make this self-sacrifice, blah, blah, blah. So he's going to be like, even though she is not doing the right thing here or whatever, even though she is being controlled by her mom and she feels like she can't do it, and I want to be there for her. And then he chooses that over and over and over and over and over for years and years and years and years. Over the course of those many years, he has become a subject to the tyrannical control of, let's say, the mother.
Mm-hmm.
And in that process of choosing to give up everything for her rule because he thinks he's doing it for Vera, the conditions on which he will get to participate in his relationship with his significant other will be determined and ruled over by his mom or her mom.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Her mom will be the one that controls how often they get to see each other. Her mom will be the one that gets to control every aspect of the relationship, and it's not looking good for him. In other words, his whole life and everything he does is going to be in servitude to this idea that eventually in the end he gets the girl. Quote, that it's a horrible phrase, but whatever. Whatever.
You don't get nobody, man.
Yeah, you don't get
anybody.
Right. Because that's not how it works, but still,
A
you get
person
what I'm
is
saying.
not a thing.
But, and what will happen is, what potentially could happen is he sort of, loses himself and becomes just a mental breakdown, if you will. And is that the route that's going to happen if she decides? I can't guarantee any of that. But based on the many experiences I've seen in my friends and etc., count it as very plausible that that's what happens. That's what that journey entails. When two people come together, their decisions impact each other, and that's a good thing. It's supposed to be that way. The problem is, one person can continue to make bad decisions that hurt the relationship over and over and over and over. That has its toll on both of them. But one person can make good decisions over and over and over and over, and that can have their toll on both of them as well. In the end, both of them have to make good decisions. It's not a game of, well, I did this, and so you have to do that. It's not a game of sum total or equaling out. Hey, like, I spend time with your family, you should spend time with mine. I would say don't worry about that stuff.
Yeah, no.
It's not about...
There's never going to be any fairness.
It's not about being fair. It's just about being the best you can and providing the best environment for that person daily. It's not about the sum total of each person's how much they offer or sacrifice for each other. It's just about you being your best for them and them being their best for you, because that's all that you really can do. Scoring something doesn't even make sense because it's impossible to keep track of. And then the only point of it is so that people can justify their bad feelings and then use it against each other. And that's a horrible, horrible, horrible habit to get into. So I would say veer as far from that as possible. As far from that as possible. Because that is just a game that's meant to destroy your relationship. Because you feel like you're owed something. Because you've struggled so hard and you've sacrificed so much and you feel like you've gotten nothing. And so then you start saying those things because you haven't dealt with that yet and you haven't received anything yet. And it's like, just drop it. Just drop it. Forgive. Who cares? That's not what it's about. And it's much better to make those sacrifices because you love them than making sacrifices because you're trying to keep a score. Right? Or even just, self-respect or whatever. You do it because you love them. So I'd say both people have to do that. Or else the relationship is going to be hard. Let's just say that. But
it's not going to end well.
Yeah, it is not going to end well.
Unless both do that. And so I would definitely recommend, the more I hear, the more I see what people are saying in the chat and hear what Ryan is saying and hear my own personal thoughts on this, I would recommend both of them find a counselor.
Yeah.
Because already this is causing some craziness. Vera especially is going to need a counselor probably to get through some of these some of this controlling situation that she's been in for a long time, right? And because your brother is in this situation as well, I would recommend I wouldn't recommend necessarily for them couples therapy, like not necessarily them seeing a therapist together as a couple. Now they could, but I would think individually, each of them having a counselor would be good for this, because there are a lot of pitfalls that are possible to go down. They're probably already in some of them. They're probably already redefining who they are a little bit and twisting their nature a little bit. Like, I mean, Vera's been involved in this a lot longer. Your brother, it said, what, a year and a half they've been together.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been in this for a year and a half now. And it's frustrating. It's looking like it's tearing their relationship apart. There's all this kind of stuff. All these things are massive heart and head issues that a counselor, I would highly recommend a counselor,
Yeah.
because it's just because, man, it's gonna be real easy. Like Ryan was talking about, if you see the prize at the end of that is, a marriage to this person that I love, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to sacrifice, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this for them, and all this kind of stuff, right? And then, but like, if it twists you into something you're not, and it twists them into something they're not, and then both of you get involved in this situation, and you're both not yourselves, because and it will deplete you and wear you out, and eventually it will break. Eventually you will break. Like, not you, but your brother and Vera, right? Like, you can only handle something like that for so long before it breaks you.
Yeah. The last thing I want to say on this is, oh yeah, go on.
I was just going to reiterate, so they should find a counselor before they end up broken.
Agreed. I think that'd be very wise, actually. Very wise to find a counselor, therapist, or whatever. The last thing I would say on this is, a situation exactly like this is prone to cause people to make slight justification after slight justification of little tiny changes in the way that they see the world, or do what they do, making the decisions they're making, justification after justification that are bad, because of someone's influence that's administering control in a way that they shouldn't be. And it happens. And over a long period of time, all of those little adjustments become a foundation on which they have to live on in order to continue this fantasy of a healthy marriage or a healthy relationship. Because the core of it has never been addressed. And so it's like, well, the core of it's never been addressed. And so then you go, well, I don't want to hate my partner, so I have to, not that you would hate them, but just like, you don't want to blame your partner, right? You don't want to do that. It feels bad, and it is bad. And it's like, well, I don't want to do that, so I'll make the justification with them. We're both in the same boat. Yes, your mom, blah, 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 but it's okay. It has to be this way. It has to be this way. You both start saying that, right? And these little tiny changes happen over a very long period of time. Well, it doesn't actually have to be that long. It can happen in 1.5 years. That's what I'm saying. So there might be things that are already happening that are unhealthy. A happy, healthy life is lived every day. You want to be on your best behavior and not have to make those justifications that are of poor quality, right? And so my point of saying that is basically, I agree with Joe. Some amount of counseling, personal counseling, might be really helpful, but I mean, again, you're a third party in all of this, so
all right.
Offer them to watch it. Don't Worry Wednesday. Apologize that you can apologize if you want to that you gave their topic, but we don't know who they are.
Right.
I don't know. I'm assuming this name Vera is fake.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know the person. Anyways, my point is, you could offer them to watch Don't Worry Wednesday with you, or you can say, you can try to have these conversations with them. And there's more to say than what we have said, but it's a conversation to be had with them. I would try, if I were you, I would try one-on-one with each of them to get your deepest, most sincere, genuine thoughts across. If that doesn't seem possible or like it's going to ever happen in a timely manner, then maybe both of them. And if that's okay. It's okay to put people on the spot to talk about things that really matter. And if you want to do that in a really tactful way, just lay it out on the table before you start. So you just say like, hey, I want to have a deep conversation with you guys. It's going to be maybe a little painful, but I would like to go through it because I love you guys, and a healthy relationship demands that we be open with each other and talk about this kind of stuff because it's really important to me. And then you start with that, and they're going to be all ears. And then you can say, we let's try to work this out so that everybody here wins. And then lay it out. Because then they know the objective.
Right.
Yeah.
I do want to give you a little bit of hope, though, Anonymous, that it's not doomed.
No.
This isn't doomed to be failure. In fact, this experience in itself, if they tread it correctly, can cause massive personal growth for both of them.
In ways that they never would be exposed to in their life if this didn't happen.
They would never know. Exactly.
That's why I said I was excited for her.
But I think counseling soon is important. Because, and especially because we can only give, we don't, in a case like this, there's so many little specifics that you have to tread lightly there are details that need to be handled in a detailed kind of way. And we don't have the ability to do that on a show like this. Plus, we're not professional therapists, right? So this is where a counselor is going to come in and be able to get into those specific details and offer the kind of advice and guidance of like, oh, this is happening. And then they're going to ask questions. They're going to dig into what it is about that situation that's happening. What about it is hard? What about it is hurtful? All these kinds of different things, right? And then from that information, they can offer some guidance and say, okay, you can step here, don't step here. Step here, don't step here, because this path is so full of pitfalls. And they seem innocent. Like Ryan was saying, they're just little concessions at times. Just little tiny ones, and you make these little tiny concessions that then add up to huge life changes in a negative direction. And so this is why having somebody who can analyze the situation from outside it, preferably a professional, that can help guide them through, that's going to be hugely important. Because this is a tricky road, and it's not going to be easy. And it might all end up crashing and burning anyway. Doesn't have to.
And I like
it's not said, doomed.
It's not doom. It's not doom and gloom. We're treating it sincerely and sharply, I guess. I couldn't find a better word. We're treating it at its worst because we want to prepare you for the worst, and to really help the best we can. The truth is, this could turn out amazing, and it will turn out amazing if they decide to do the things that will make it amazing, right? It's hard. That's the thing. It's hard, and sincerely hard. So that's why we treat it like it is. I think they can get through this. They can definitely get through this. They just have to choose to, right? They can definitely get through it. It's certain if they make the right choices, I guess, if you will say. But you can only see where it goes. And either way, whatever comes of this whole story, whether they stay together or not, my hope is that it will add to them so much wisdom and joy in their lives, because sometimes these struggles do that. So that's what I hope and I wish. Yeah, a lot of good stuff in the chat as well. Anonymous, feel free.
You guys are awesome.
Check it out.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you, Anonymous, for posting this topic. Again, your heart is amazing, and I'm proud of you for wanting to help out. So I hope that we have helped you potentially help them. I really hope that.
Yep, because it is dangerous. I can't stress that enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
People are in danger of getting seriously emotionally messed up and
mhm.
having some serious trauma to deal with as a result. And it can, yeah, there are high risks.
Yep. High risk,
But
high reward, I guess.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it's you can navigate it, but I would say he's gonna need help, and she's gonna need help.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
That's fine, and that's okay to get help. That's nice.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We got a shout out from
Yeah.
Savage Tunes. Savage
Oh,
Tunes says
hey,
hi.
Hey, how's it going, man? Welcome.
And
Freaking awesome.
Savage's heart goes out to Anonymous as well. Anonymous.
Yeah.
Just so as you know.
Yeah. Thanks, Savage. You're awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna count that as topic finished. That's great. It's
We
hard.
made it.
Yeah. Wow, that was
I
a hard
didn't
one.
die. I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. I can understand why you'd feel it. I seriously, it's a heart wrenching one because at the end of it, you don't even feel like, oh yeah, that was really good. You just feel like, oh, I hope that goes well, you know? Instead of
Yeah.
feeling like, okay, we did a good job, right? We maybe we helped them. It's just like, man, I hope so. I hope so. Oof.
Messed up.
Yeah, and it's hard stuff. Hard stuff.
It doesn't even seem that messed up on its surface because it happens so many times. Like a lot of people have controlling parents, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
I
man,
mean,
when you see the fruits of that years and years and years and years later, oh my gosh, it can be so devastating.
Yeah.
To people and the people around them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It can be really, really hard.
A very difficult time. So,
yep.
And a lot to work through.
That's why there's counselors, and find some good ones.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And you can heal. So no matter how hard it gets, there is healing available, right?
Yes.
You can work through some of these things. Now, it can take a long time to work through some of these things, right? And it can take therapy, and it can take counseling, and even afterwards, you might have to take the tools you learned from therapy and
continue to apply them.
Continue to work on stuff, and things crop. It's amazing how our lives go sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, hey, my heart goes out to you, and you, Anonymous, man. It's tough to watch a family member on the brink of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can be really, really tough.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
and maybe I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. We could end it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's one of those topics. It's a big one.
It
but
is,
on the
man.
topic of family, Monotherin has, I think this is their topic in the chat here. Oop, did I close out of Snaz? I did. Whoops.
You closed out. We don't have a current topic anymore.
We don't have a current topic anymore. That's good.
Look at that.
That was my intention. Hey, it's not popping up.
Hey.
It broke, Oh, there it is. All right.
You got it?
Yep.
You figured it out?
Yeah. Thank you.
Good job.
Yeah. Monotherin, if this is your topic, do you mind if we do it? You can confirm if you want. And we'll give it our best. Like I said,
Riku.
Yeah.
Riku can cook.
Oh. Yeah,
Riku can cook some good stories.
Cook some good stories. I think I've seen a cake of some sort that Riku cooked.
5-star, 5.5 star, 10-star. I don't know. Is there such a thing?
So reviews go. They can do whatever they want.
I mean, there's only 5 stars on the thing, but you know what? I give it another star.
I submit that audio reviews should go up to 11.
Yes. At least.
It makes sense.
All right. Monotherin says go for it.
Okay. Awesome.
We can go for it.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to start reading from here. might not be the spot that's intended, but it doesn't matter. It says, Monotherin says, I struggle with understanding my own relationship with my parents. It's like what I was saying the other day about wanting to share love. But when I feel inspired as such, I get sad around my family. Like, I want to love my family, but I don't know. It's like I'm not even sure how to explain what exactly, but I don't feel any less like not great than when talking with hold on. I don't feel any less like don't feel any less like hold on. I'm gonna figure this sentence out. I don't feel any less like not great than when talking with my parents. Oh, I don't feel any less like okay, I get it. They don't feel any less the emotion of feeling not great compared to when they're talking with their parents. Thing like that. Okay. Like with what I was saying yesterday about me discovering and meditating on love. I ask myself if I love my family, which is what I think about often. And if I don't, then how do I? Like, how would I know that my love isn't being held hostage so they can use my love to ensnare me? Yeah, well put. Got it. Actually, I'm gonna take that and make that part of the topic. Perhaps. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and quite quickly try to type up a topic here. What is love? I'm gonna drop the baby don't hurt me. And and then also add this part that you wrote here.
He said,
how
would I know that my love isn't being held hostage so they can use my love to ensnare me, to love them without being demanded?
There we go. What is love, and how would I know that my love isn't being held hostage so that they can use my love to ensnare me? Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Very good topic. And thank you so much for coming on and for sharing your topic with us. Appreciate that. Yeah. So,
I think it's natural to feel suspicious.
Oh yeah, I think so to some degree. Especially if there's a reason for suspicion, then maybe your suspicion is warranted. It doesn't mean that you're right, but it does mean that things have happened in the past that haven't been good or healthy. But people should be suspicious of all things in a way. Everything deserves to be thought about and tested to some degree, right? So there's nothing wrong with being suspicious. And being suspicious can be healthy. It can help us understand more. Even if we find that there was no reason to be suspicious, we can find understanding and truth that was deeper than we realized. So questioning things is good. So yeah, I think there's definitely a lot to talk on here. And your topic is multifaceted, which is great. So if it's all right, Joe, if you feel like you're prepared enough, you'd be willing to speak on behalf of you and
yeah, of course. I'll come up with something to say. I don't know, like
I mean, we always do,
because you never know, like right, exactly. It's like sometimes
yeah.
Let's go. All right.
It is. Oh my gosh, have there been times where I'm like, I don't know what to say on this topic. I'm just like, all right, help me God.
Right, exactly. It's like, all right.
And then it comes to me, and then I apparently have like a monologue that lasts 30 minutes. So
see?
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Which shows that Ryan is much more strong and one with the Holy Spirit than I am, because his monologues are so much better. Yes, whatever. It is too. Don't argue with me. I will win.
Oh, okay. I will set back now. I'm sorry about that.
All right. Monotherin, I'm sorry. I understand to some degree what it is that you're talking about, and I'm sorry that you feel this way. This is really tough. because how it really kind of boils down to a matter of trust. How do we feel that we can trust someone, right? But if we're forced to love someone, then that isn't love anyway.
Right. That's true.
If we love someone because we're forced to, then that's not love. And that's why, like, I mean, when you talk about our religion, Ryan and I are both Catholics, right? You talk about God's love and how he wants us to love him, but he gave us free will. He doesn't force us.
And he never impedes on it.
Exactly. So we do all kinds of horrendous things to each other as human beings because we have free will, and he doesn't stop us from exerting our free will. Right? So we manipulate each other. We do all kinds of crazy stuff, right? We feel so I don't know. Monotherin, I don't necessarily know details or what might be tipping you off to this situation that maybe you are kind of being held hostage in a way. It's tough to say, like without specific instances, but I can tell you, if you're feeling this way, then somewhere along the line, trust has been violated. Somewhere along the line, your trust in your family has suffered to some degree. Because, and maybe for legitimate reasons, maybe something happened that caused them to not be trustworthy anymore.
Or maybe someone supplanted that kind of idea into your brain and now it's going rampant.
That's
Both
possible,
are possible
too. Both are possible. So how do you determine, right? Love is, quite honestly, if you want to know, if you want to kind of get to the bottom of this in your situation, Monotherin, I would recommend a book by Eric Fromm, Erichfromm, Eric Fromm, called The Art of Loving. And this book, it's not a very long book, but it's very, very good. It was written, I think, back in the 50s by a psychiatrist. And the act of loving is one of us. He calls the act of loving.
Oh, was it the
us,
act or not art? Act, sorry.
The art. It's the art of loving.
Okay,
the
okay.
Art of loving is what the book is called, right? But he says that the act of loving is us overcoming our own narcissism. Because we're all self-centered, we're all self-focused, right? But then when we can truly love someone, we take all those eyes off ourselves and what we want and we focus on the other person, and we just love them. We are thankful that they're here. We're thankful that they're around. We love them simply because they are. Because they exist, right? That's real love. Real love does not come with conditions. But most of the time, us in our imperfect human state, love does come with conditions. I'll act lovingly toward you as long as you are like this. As long as you do this. As long as you do this. As long as you do this, right? But that's not what love is. To love someone truly is to let go of all those conditions. What is love? I mean, they talk about it in, if you go by a scriptural sense, love is kind, love is patient, love is all kinds of stuff. 1 Corinthians 13:13. 1 Corinthians 13:13. Really concise what love is, right? It holds no record of wrongs. There's all kinds of stuff, right? Like there's stuff in there about what love is, and we fail at it all the time as humans. Now, here's the thing. You can love your parents, you can love your family, you can love them, whether they hold your love hostage or not. But if you start to be mistreated in the midst of you loving them, you don't have to be close to them. You can, as I've said before, sometimes you need to love somebody from a distance. Because sometimes their presence in your life is toxic. Happens all the time. I've had plenty of people scamper through my life in a toxic way. But at the time it was happening, I didn't think it was. And then I start noticing stuff sometimes. But I'm just a really, really strong-willed person. And so I'll hold on. I'm an idealist. I'm loyal. And when I commit to something, I commit hard. It's just the type of person that I am. I hate the idea of giving up on anything. I will continue to try and 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 stay there and get beat up over and over and over again for a long, 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 long time. And it's pretty wild. But I'm starting to notice red flags sometimes in people. If you start feeling manipulated by somebody, that's a red flag. If you start feeling gaslit by somebody where, like the story changes and, like when somebody does something that hurts you and then they twist it back and make it your fault, that's a red flag. I had a friend years ago. I learned what a real apology was years ago. A real apology is never, I'm sorry that you ... That's not real. In fact, you might as well just kick somebody in the mouth. Because I'm sorry you did this, or I'm sorry you felt that way, or I'm sorry that always puts the responsibility on that person. Right? I remember talking to this dude, like he was a mentor to me and everything like that, right? And I remember talking to him like, man, you really hurt me, when you said this. You really hurt me. Like we had this discussion, like I was moving in a certain direction. He blew up at me, we had this, it was crazy. And I remember getting on the phone with him later and we were kind of reconciling our situation. And I was telling him, I was like, man, that conversation, I really want to clear the air here. I want to talk about this because I value our friendship, right? I want us to be friends. I want us to, do this. But like, and I'll never forget because I told him, I was like, dude, you really hurt me when you said that stuff. And his response was, well, I'm sorry you got hurt. And that felt like a total punch in the gut. How hard is it to say, I'm sorry I hurt you? How hard is that? Especially when you didn't mean to, because I've gone through this with other friends too, where just counseling them in another situation. And I'm like, well, did you apologize to them? And they're like, I don't need to apologize. I didn't do anything wrong. And I'm like, well, did you hurt them? Well, they got hurt, but I didn't do anything wrong. So it wasn't my fault. And I'm like, well, if you hurt them, how hard is it to say you're sorry for hurting them? Especially, did you mean to hurt them? Well, no, I wasn't trying to hurt them. Of course I wasn't trying to hurt them. They're the one who got hurt. I didn't do anything wrong. And I'm like, but here's the thing. You did something, even if it was not the wrong thing, even if it was the right thing, your actions still hurt them. Did you mean for it to hurt them? Well, no. I'm like, well, then it should be easy to apologize to them and say, I'm sorry I hurt you. I never meant to. I never was intending to hurt you. I didn't want to hurt you ever. And I'm sorry that I did that. But our pride gets in the way, right? And so we like think if I ever say I'm sorry, if I ever apologize, it means I'm admitting that I was wrong, and I'm not wrong. Right? But even if we're not wrong, we can handle things in a less than perfect way.
Well, love allows you to drop that barrier. Love that
Exactly.
allows you to drop that pride, that act of pride that really stands between the relationship and allows you to enter
Yes.
into that relationship more fully.
Yes. Riku. I know sorry is hard, but that's what makes us strong, baby, even if we didn't intend to
You
do
do
damage.
damage.
Mm-hmm.
Only is it time to
Classic Static P song.
open wounds. Yeah.
Yep. It's been a week. I understand. But these are red flags, right? When I start to come across somebody who's manipulating, or when someone is turning things back around, or when we're having a heart to heart and, the only apology they can give me is, I'm sorry, you fill in the blank. I'm like, okay. It starts to clear up a little bit in my head. I'm like, all right. I see kind of where we're going. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't love them. It doesn't mean that I stop loving them. Of course, I still love them. In a lot of cases, I will still want to be reconciled to them. But, you handle enough of that stuff for a long enough amount of time with enough different people, and you start to notice some patterns. And so, Monotherin, oh, you've got some stuff in the chat. Thank you. It's like I almost feel bad for trying to show sincerity. Like I want to show the real love in me, and I know it's there, but I'm stuck being cynical and defensive all the time towards them, like all the time. I feel terrible, like I almost can't get it out of my head that they are my enemies, which is why I question if it's me. But it feels so real and so bad when I'm in the moment, which is often.
Mm-hmm.
I understand. And I'm sorry. That is a tough way to feel.
Mm-hmm.
So I can tell you how you can feel better about this. Now, I don't know if you can move. I don't know if you can get out of the situation. I don't know if you can, like, I don't know. Sometimes you need some space. Sometimes you need some distance. Sometimes I don't know if that's possible or not. But I will tell you how you can feel better about this is through forgiving them. That's the medicine for you to feel better and to heal is forgiveness. And I've said this to people before and they've gotten it's the pride kicks back up. It's like, well, they never apologized. How can I forgive them? Or I could never forgive them for that because that would be like saying they didn't do anything wrong. That would be like saying that this was, it was totally fine for them to do that. No, that's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is you letting go of it in your heart. So it's not holding you down anymore. It's letting it go. It's saying, you know what? I don't have any ill feelings toward him anymore. I don't have any look. And sometimes it's a process. Sometimes you have to do it a lot of times. Sometimes you have to do it daily or multiple times a day. Say when it crops up and it starts to bother you and it starts to do that, I will have to say to myself, well, I forgive them. And then I'll have to say to myself, I already forgave them. Why am I getting uptight about this? And the reason is because it still hurts. Yes, it can still hurt even after we forgive somebody. But then I keep doing it and I keep doing it. And I keep telling myself, I keep saying, I forgave them. I forgive them. I forgive them. I forgive them. I forgave them already. Like I'm letting this go. And sometimes I'll have to pray about it and I'll be like, God, help me forgive them. Help me to know how to forgive them. Because this still hurts. Like I want to get through it. And over time, you will feel better. But the peace that comes to you when you say, I forgive them, this is that it holds no record of wrongs bit about love. You forgive, and then you can be at peace. And then you're free to love fully, to really love them, even if you never talk to them again. You can still love them. And even if they're difficult, and even if you're doing that, like, it's weird because you start to notice this stuff. It kind of grants you a little bit of wisdom. And you start to see the puzzle pieces lining up, and you start to notice, you take a step outside of yourself and outside of the personal offense, because it doesn't, you're like, I already forgave him for this, this is just how they are. And then you almost start to look at them with a little bit of pity and a little bit of laughter. Like, oh, look at him being that way again. Yeah. I sure hope that they can grow out of that someday. But it doesn't wrench your heart up as much anymore because you've forgiven the offense and you're not holding it against them anymore. And it frees you inside. And you can still love them and be gracious towards them and let them be them.
I just want to add one little
Please
thing
do.
here.
I need to be done anyway. I've talked
okay.
a long time.
Sure. Yeah, no, what you said was great. I really love where you ended too. I just wanted to say that pity is not an insult. Pity is not a bad thing. If someone pities you, that's a good thing. Pity is actually a form of love. Pity, when you pity someone, it means you look upon them and their situation and you wish it better for them. That's literally what pity is. Pity is when you look at someone and you go, I wish things were better. I wish things were better for them. Even if it's like a mental state that they have, you go, I wish things were better for them. You might pity someone who has a missing arm. You say, I wish things were better for him. It's not an insult. It's not looking down at them as if you're better, right? Pity is simply looking at them and wishing things were better for them. Not that you are the epitome of what's better or that you know better. In fact, you can pity someone who's in the exact same scenario as you. And you're both kind of in this, like maybe you're both missing an arm. You can still pity that person. Pity is not a showcase of showing that you're better or giving you strength. If that's the kind of pity you feel towards others, then that isn't love. That isn't the virtue, so to speak, of pity. That's pride. That's not pity. That's pride, right? And so it's important to do I think it's what Joe said is so true. There will come a point in your life where you will have compassion for the people who you know are doing things wrong, and you will sincerely have pity on them in the most beautiful way. And you'll go, wow, I wish it was better for them. And I'm willing to step into their lives despite this. Love is a incredibly beautiful thing. And I think it's probably the most powerful and most important thing we have as human beings. And I want to say this about it. Love, as Joe said right from the beginning, requires free will. Without free will, we can't love. Not to its truest definition. Free will, making choices, capable of doing wrong to others and also capable of doing right. Capable of hurting, capable of healing. Capable, right? Love demands that. Why? Because love has to be a free choice or it's not love, right? It has to be freely chosen to give it, right? So, Manatharan, when you're encountering your parents and you feel this way, remind yourself that it's your choice. And you say, regardless of however I feel, because feelings are a thing, but they don't determine your will. Your will is also a thing. And you can love with your will while your emotions are against you. In fact, that is a higher form of love in some ways. Because if love is a choice, it also means that you have to pick it on the days where you don't feel like picking it. Right? and with the people you don't feel like choosing love for. There are times where a showcase of the highest form of love is making that self-sacrifice where you say, I don't feel like doing this, I don't want to do this, but I know that this is the loving thing to do. This is a good thing to do. So I might not be able to defeat immediately the way I'm feeling, though it might come along. And I'll get into that in a second. You might not be able to defeat the way that you're feeling. Might not be able to say, oh, I feel love now. I feel like love, and then love someone. Love is a parfait. Awesome. You're awesome, August. I love you.
You know what else has layers? Parfaits.
Parfaits, that's right.
Parfaits.
Everybody loves parfaits. So, if sometimes being in that position where you are, where you're like, I feel this contention. I feel this anti-love writhing within me. This defensiveness, like this idea that I need to protect myself against this person, so therefore I cannot be vulnerable to them, which is love. Being open. I can't be because whatever reason, right? That's the way you feel. And there might be truth to that. There probably is, so it should be paid attention to. In that moment, if you choose to make that sacrifice of love, you choose to make the loving act, despite it, what you have done is committed the most beautiful act that a human can do. Because you've chosen, see what makes humans amazing is that we can choose with understanding and will and just based on our emotions and our intelligence and so on and so forth. It's incredible. When we say we should be humane to people, that's more of the epitome of what it means to be human than when people say, oh, we're only human, so we make mistakes. What I mean is, when we choose purely out of reaction to how we're treated, that's what animals do, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what animals do. They react. Humans are the only ones that get to make a decision not to. And they can choose against their reaction, and they can choose the highest good, which is love. They can choose, I'm going to be loving to this person despite whatever just happened.
Mm-hmm.
That is human. That is human glorified, right? That is human at its highest state of humanhood, right? That's a beautiful thing. And so sometimes your feelings are going to be against you, and you choose to act on that anyways with great love and intention for good for the other. Not for yourself, do it for them, right? Now, keep this in mind. You need to love yourself. In fact, it's almost sort of a prerequisite to some degree to love yourself before you can love others. Now, you can love others before you love yourself, but I will tell you that if you walk into any relationship where you don't love yourself, that relationship is not going to be the best, let's say. Okay?
Yeah.
Loving yourself
you will love others better
yes.
if you love yourself.
That's perfectly said, yes. You will be capable of loving others better if you love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems weird to say that because we say, oh, loving others is about the other person. But recognize you're also in a relationship with yourself. And you are, in a way, three persons, if you will. You are yourself. And you are the person that talks to you in your head and contemplates and feeds and gives you feedback. And then you also have that third being, which is kind of like a relationship, which you've established with yourself. And that is really important. It's a journey, indeed. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Riku said so up above. That personifies what you were talking about a lot, Ryan, is that Riku said, I had a lot of self-hate when I was younger, which made me really defensive against any kind of love because I felt like I don't deserve it and other people shouldn't be bothered by me. Reminds me a bit of this. It takes time to start liking yourself. It's true. Because if we
Mm-hmm.
don't love ourselves, if we don't like ourselves when we get into a relationship, we will somehow sabotage it
Oh yeah, for
through our
sure.
dislike of ourselves and will allow all kinds of bad behavior on the part of the other person because we don't feel like we're worth good behavior being done toward us. And so,
Absolutely.
like, so we will allow people to abuse us or misuse us or whatever, or use us in general, right? And we allow that when we don't like ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when we do love ourselves, then we can hold the line on someone's behavior as well. And when somebody is acting poorly, we can do so in a loving manner and say, hey, that's not right to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
not how you treat someone.
You'd be wildly amazed that when you have a relationship with someone and they do you wrong and you come at them with love and sincere love and correct the behavior, not that you're saying, oh, you got to do it the way I want to do it or I want you to do it because I'm power, not like that, but sincerely, you're looking out for them and he's like, hey, what was that? Like, what just happened? That's not like you. When you're able to enter into that moment, it defies everything you ever thought would happen. Because here's what happens. Here's what, your mind tells you. The relationship is more important than my opinion. The relationship is more important than me. This person and the relationship with them, my fear is that they leave me and I ruin the relationship because I stood up for myself. Right? These are your thoughts. But when you enter into that moment with sincere love, and you don't correct them because you want to be, because you want justice. You don't correct them because you want revenge. You don't correct them because your pride was hurt. You don't correct them because you were hurt, necessarily. But you come into that moment with love, and you guide them towards a better relationship out of that pain. Saying like, hey, this went wrong. Let's talk about it. Oh man. You take that relationship to the next level. You create in that person an incredible amount of respect for you. And that's not like, oh, like you're not respect hunting, but my point is respect is what allows relationships to grow. And that is what happens. Now, is that what's going to happen every time? No, because it also sort of depends on that other person. But I will say that it's better for you to do that than any other alternative. Because if you allow them to do that, right? If you allow them, if out of fear of the relationship ending or fear of what they can do to you, whatever, you choose not to counter their evil, let's say, the thing that they did that was bad. If you don't stand against it, what happens is you condition them to continue doing more of that, which is the opposite of loving, because that's not very good for you and it's not very good for them, right? If you allow them to walk over you, you only train them to walk over people, and you don't like it and no one else likes it, and they're going to develop bad relationships and it's going to be bad for them. People are going to hate them. So it's like, if you can enter into that moment and save them from that, holy cow. That's so nice. It's so loving. It's so good. And so sometimes love requires you to stand up for yourself. Sometimes you need to learn to love yourself. And sometimes we need to learn to love others. What I was going to say before, getting back to another previous point, was there are times where we are not feeling loving, but we choose to act on that love. Sometimes what happens in that moment is our feelings adapt to what's going on, and we become responsive, and And so sometimes what you're going to find is you're going to be like, I'm going to be loving in this moment. I love this person. I love this person. You say this in your head if you want. I love this person. And it's not like, I love this person. No, it's like, because you're fed up with them. It could be, but it doesn't have to be. It can be.
You say it through your teeth.
Yeah,
Your teeth are being like, I just love this person.
Yeah. No, but yeah, you just say like, you try to get yourself in the mind frame. You go, okay, I love this person. And I want to do what's best for them. I want to do what's best for our relationship with them, me, everyone around us. I genuinely love this person. I'm going to enter into their life right now. And that's a beautiful phrase. It's a beautiful way to say it. I love this person and I'm going to enter into their life right now. That phrase sets your mind in the right place because that's what you're doing. You're entering into their life. And then you act on that. You do whatever you need to do. You say whatever you need to say, etc. Right? And it's not always hard things. It could just be loving, like fun things. Like, I'm going to participate in the thing that they're doing and I don't really want to do it. But here's what's cool. On occasion, and on an often occasion, your emotions will start to respond to that. And you will start to feel like you love them. You will start to feel like you love what's going on in your life. And your emotions will then be a respondent to you rather than your emotions being a respondent to the world around you. And you would much rather your emotions be a responding agent to you because you can control you. You cannot control the world around you. So if you can by any means get yourself into that mind frame where you're making the actions, you're calling the shots, and then your brain responds in emotion to that, which is healthy and good and happy, or whatever it needs to be at that moment, that's much better for your own well-being because then you aren't giving up full emotional control and ultimately potentially full actionable control to the world around you that doesn't care about you, that isn't looking after you, that isn't looking out for you. They're just doing whatever they want is because it's in their interest, including taking advantage of you. And you end up in that position of just like, okay, I live this life where now I'm just being taken advantage of because I'm responding to my emotions, which is the world around me. And what they're going to do with me is do this to me. That's the life that 95% of people at least live. And they don't need to.
Yeah, they live it very regularly. It's very... It makes things a lot more difficult.
It certainly does. Yeah. It's very sad. It's very sad. It's a place that demands compassion and pity and in the most sincere, loving way possible. And so I offer that to you. You can choose to be loving regardless of how you feel. And that feeling that comes from watching yourself do that is amazing. Because you will respond to yourself doing that. Your emotions are just responses, right? You will respond to it. And it will probably be like, wow, I'm surprised at myself. That's nice. That feels good. I'm proud of myself. That feels good, right? And then it's a lot easier to like yourself and start loving yourself. If you can put yourself in positions where you're proud of what you have done, you have exiled depression. In most cases of depression. Depression is, I would say, a habit of thinking basically the worst about yourself. Let's just put it that way. When you can put yourself in a position where you've done something that you're proud of and you feel that, you've just exiled depression for a moment here. And then you get to start to like yourself, and then that's so much easier to start to love yourself. But you can choose to love yourself before you do any of that. But what's going to happen anyways is if you do that is you're going to be proud of yourself for doing that, and then it's going to cycle. So one way or another, you get to kickstart it, whether it's an outward expression of love to someone else or an inward expression of love to yourself. One way or another, that love will kickstart the upward spiral. If you maintain it and allow it, it will kickstart that upward spiral of becoming more loving, becoming capable of loving yourself, and more capable of loving other people. And there's one last thing I want to say on love. which ties into something I said earlier, sacrifice. Humans are incredible creatures. And I said this before, and I kind of laid it out for you. There is pain in the world, and there's a lot of it. And one beautiful thing about pain, which isn't really what I'm trying to drive at, but one beautiful thing about pain is it allows us to enter into people's lives with a great amount of charity and to receive that charity with graciousness, right? Both of those things being an attribute of love. Charity, giving of yourself, right? That's loving. Receiving with great thanks and being thankful for things around you. That is an act of love. Well, that is. So that's one thing that pain is kind of useful for, right? But it goes way deeper. Pain and suffering exist in the world because the world demands it of us, because we are so valuable, and because love is so valuable. Here's why. Everything has value, right? Let's say you go to a store, you see a wrench on the wall, and you're like, oh, I don't need a wrench. So how much do you pay for it? Nothing. You're not going to buy it. Okay, let's say you need a wrench, and you need a wrench stat. You're like, I got a project I need to finish, and it's going to cost me like $300 if I don't. You're like, okay, I got to buy a wrench. You know, you'll look at the wall and be like, okay, that one's $20. All right, sure. Whatever, $20 wrench, sure, I guess. And you'll buy it, right? You might compare different wrenches. You might figure it out, right? Here's the thing. If someone's life is on the line, you'd be like, I'll put a loan down for that wrench. Whatever it costs, right? Human life has a inherent value. And the value that we pay a lot of times is to suffer. Mm-hmm. If there was no suffering, our hearts would never know their own value, because we would never have a price to pay. We would never experience a price for anything. There wasn't pain and suffering in the world. To be able to choose to sacrifice yourself, to be able to choose to love, which might demand a price of you, for the sake of another, is, as I said before, it is the epitome of glorifying humanity, right? But to be able to recognize, like, suffering and pain, if I can choose to go and wade through it for the sake of love, what's going to happen is your heart is going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's going to continue to get stronger the more you endure, the more suffering you're willing to go through for. Now, this requires some amount of caveat, if you will, but the willingness to go through something, regardless of whatever the price is, out of the sake of true love, guided love, love with wisdom, right? Let's say, every time you go through these pains and trials in life, it increases the amount you are capable of loving. So long as you utilize that pain to grow your love. Every instance of pain can be utilized to increase your heart. That's through forgiveness. And And it's also through just endurance. It's also through learning that you're wrong, and that's why you had to suffer, because there was something right about the world and you've messed it up, and there's a price to pay for that, and so then suffering ensues, right? Sometimes it's growing up and becoming smarter and wiser. But either way, every form of suffering that happens in this world is issued as a chance to grow our heart, become more and more loving. And if you can look at pain and suffering that way, you don't have to be afraid of it and run away from it anymore. You can choose to live a life that is incredibly good and incredibly loving. If you can make that decision. To see the world through those lenses, life will make sense. Pain and suffering suddenly start to unfold in a way that makes sense. You know, a lot of people in this world they say, you know, like, there's so much pain and suffering, they abandon love, essentially. When love is the answer to it all. It's the reason that it needs to exist in the world. Because without it, our love would be so shallow. Our love would be so shallow. We couldn't even be sure we loved anyone. Because one, we've never been through a trial that demands us to love even though we don't want to do something. That demands us to love regardless of the sacrifice. Never been through it, so we can't even show proof that we love anything. And then secondly, we haven't endured anything, that we haven't paid any price for it. We haven't paid a cost for our love. We haven't endured any trials. It's like, it's such a beautiful thing. And so, as you go through your life, keep love in the forefront of your mind as you are currently doing. And I think it's a beautiful thing that you're doing. That you're asking these questions, that you're trying to make these discoveries and figure yourself out and ask yourself, why can't I experience this love when I'm with my family? Keep this love thing in your forefront of your mind at all times if you can. Obsess over it if you must. Point is, the world's going to make a lot more sense if you can wade through each scenario with love on your, because it can solve every problem.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And it's not necessarily how much you are loved that counts. Or how much you feel loved that counts.
Sure.
What counts is your ability to love. Because sometimes you won't feel loved.
True.
And like Ryan said, sometimes you're going to suffer.
Sometimes you have to love yourself, and it's the only person in the room that's going to.
But it's not a matter of who loves you and how much you feel loved. It's a matter of how much love can you give? How much can you love those around you? It's not necessarily about how much you're receiving love. Now, it feels good to receive love. Genuine love.
Well, yeah,
sure.
it's a good thing.
But what feels even better is when you can love without expecting any love in return. You can just love freely, and you don't have to think to yourself, oh, well, I've only got a limit to how much I can love. And if they don't love me back, then whatever, right?
Oh yeah, that's toxic.
Because that draws us back into ourselves, and then we feel insufficient again, and it's crazy. But
and then you just put a limit on love.
That's true,
and
that's true. But
the infinite well of goodness is she's like, nah, I'm going to put a limit on that.
But you do have an infinite supply of love, and you can love, right? And I love your question. As a future topic, I would love to discuss the ins and outs of how to know and understand when you're being used, like how to be more assertive in a healthy way. I know that's a tricky topic because sometimes it's really subtle.
Could you go to don'tworrywednesday.com and submit that topic for us, please?
That would be really cool. what to do when you show unconditional love to someone and they show you conditional love back? Good question. We could talk about that for a long time too. Um, but here's the thing, like, it's okay to suffer. I want to reiterate what Ryan said. Ryan, that was absolutely beautiful. My goodness, it was hugely awesome. I want you to know though that just because you're suffering doesn't mean it's your fault. You
Right.
didn't necessarily cause the suffering that you're experiencing. Okay?
Right.
It's not like, because sometimes you're being used or abused, and that's what's causing your suffering, and it hurts, right? And so, like, it's not necessarily always your fault
Hmm.
that you're suffering. A lot of times we've done things to deserve our suffering, but sometimes we don't deserve our suffering.
Right.
Sometimes we did nothing. And Ryan hates the word deserve anyway, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
one of your, like, we don't deserve anything. It's true.
Yeah.
We don't. Like, we're
Yeah.
we're here and everything's a gift, right? And if suffering can cause us to grow, it can cause us to lean into it a little bit more. Now, it is a little bit touchy and can be complicated because just because you can get caught up in your head. Oh man, I'm getting all these points by going through this suffering. If there's an injustice and abuse going on in your situation, it's not okay to stay there for the suffering points.
Because it's not loving to yourself.
Right. Because what that's going to do, you stay in that long enough, you get trained to hate yourself and you
Hmm.
lose some of your capacity to love, right?
Hmm.
So when you're being abused, when you're being used, when you're being, treated poorly like that and you're suffering as a result, it's not necessarily the right thing to stay in that situation because you can convince yourself, well, I'm suffering and so that's making me have a bigger heart, a better love for others. It's not. We do have our limits.
Hmm. Yes.
So you will suffer enough in this life without going through an abusive situation.
That's true.
And Joe deserves squeezed cheese.
Oh, I guess there is
Thank
one
you.
deserved. That applies.
I deserve the squeezed cheese.
All right.
I love squeezed cheese. It's so
Mm.
good. I don't have any. The only can I have here is an empty can. I need
Oh,
to go.
the worst kind of can. Reminds you don't have any.
I know, right?
Poor Joe. Poor Joe. He
Poor
deserves
me.
some
I'm
squeeze.
so suffering. I don't have these. I have two cans that are unopened in the other room, but
Oh,
the
oh,
only one
oh.
I have here in front of me is an empty can.
Behold the
So
suffering. Behold the suffering. An
yes.
empty can of squeezed cheese.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but man, oh man, but it's true though. When we go through these times that we suffer, it does grow our capacity to love. It grows our capacity to have compassion and to have empathy with others, and that can build so many bridges between people's hearts. When you can feel with someone that's going through a painful time and you can relate because you've also experienced pain like that, you can love at a deeper level
Hmm.
than you might have thought even before because of that level of compassion and empathy that you have because you went through that suffering, right? Kind of tenderizes our hearts in a way. So, Ryan, exactly. He's so right. He's so right that don't be afraid to go through suffering. It's inevitable.
It
We're
is.
going to. But it also doesn't mean, when you start
Subject
to
yourself to it
determine that you're in
needlessly.
a, when you, right. Yeah, you don't just because yeah, don't stay in a situation. And I think probably for a short answer to your ins and outs of how to know and understand when you're being used, if you come away from a situation and you dislike yourself,
Mm.
that's a really good sign. if you come away from something and you feel like less of a person, or you feel like, or you're being trained to dislike yourself, that's a pretty good sign that you're being abused and or used. There are other signs for being used. That's a little bit more benign than being abused, but um yeah, there are definitely signs out there. But I tell you, probably one of the biggest ones is if you come away and you like yourself less and you find less value in yourself and you're farther away from loving yourself. That's a pretty good sign that there's something not right in that situation.
Fair.
But anyway,
Mhm.
man, Monotherin, this is a great topic. Holy cow.
Mhm.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for
Everything's
coming on.
about love tonight, man. I can't
Yeah.
stand love.
Oh man, it's good.
Like,
Good for you.
it's actually, no, you're right. I like love. Love is a wonderful thing. It makes the world go round. Romance is the thing that I really can't stand. It's not that I can't stand it, it's that I have CPTSD that it
Yeah.
gets triggered by it. Like,
Yeah, well, it's a whole different experience that between a healthy relationship that's romance and an unhealthy relationship that's romance. And if you have
I
one,
don't know if there is such
it
a
can
thing. I see
definitely
them
be
all around me, and
PTSD.
I'm like,
You're just suspicious.
I am very suspicious.
Cynical.
Very suspicious.
I heard
Cynical, maybe a little.
maybe a little cynical.
Maybe a little. If man was supposed to be man was meant to be married, he'd have been born that way.
Yeah, such a stupid statement. Well then, I guess if man were meant to have clothing, he'd be born that way. So I guess I'm
That's
gonna become a
right.
streaker.
We should all be naked.
That's right. And
That's not advice. We are not
no.
professionals.
Yeah. Man was born wet with weird fluids, so that's how I'm gonna be. Is how I'm gonna live my life.
Yeah. If
Mhm.
man were
If
supposed to have hair, he'd have been born that way. I was
Yeah.
born bald.
Oh no, it's growing on you. What's going on? You were born bald. I was born with hair.
Were you really? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So funny story. I was born with my hair, like all of it. Okay. So my mom has brown hair, and my dad has brown hair, and everyone in my mom's family that you could think of has brown hair. And anyways, so when I was born, my mom looked at me and just laughed. She just laughed at me because
you have blonde hair.
Because I had blonde hair and it was sticking straight up, like my whole, like, and it was
great.
it was like this high. It was like I had one of those haircuts, you know.
Yeah,
and so my
man.
mom just looked at me, what? This is my kid. Did you see this? She was laughing about it.
Your mom laughed at you the day you were born.
Yeah, that's right. I love it.
Most moms are cuddly and wonderful and so awesome, and your mom laughed at you and pointed.
That's right. No, she's amazing. I love my mom. Everybody loves my mom.
Your mom is so awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And Super Neon Blue, I mean, yeah, those are some seriously good topics. Would you mind putting those for me in the Don't Worry Wednesday topic? Because what you're saying is actually pretty good. With the how
I love how you said that. What you're saying is actually pretty good. Like
yes.
what she normally says it's not.
No. Everything she says is good. It just surprises me continuously because every time it just blows me out of the water. You say, what do when you show unconditional love to someone and they show conditional love back, and then you continue to say it's hard because there is such a want to love in me personally, yet people be so nasty. I don't know what do. And yeah, that would be a really good topic. Also, August, we see your topic here. We don't have time tonight to cover it. Thank you for letting us going on about these topics for a while. Both of them are warranted a deep dive. So
Mm-hmm.
I hope that
You guys gave me a workout tonight. Thank you.
Oh, nice. I hope that that both parties that are both the topics that we did, there we go, are useful and helpful to more than just them, but especially those who ask the topics. Again, we aren't professionals, but we can give you our best, and we hope that that was helpful and useful. Hope it's useful. Yeah. So thank you guys.
Love you guys.
Also, yeah,
like
we love
for
you
real,
guys.
for real,
For real
love.
Mm-hmm. Also, thank you guys in the chat. You guys had such great things to say, especially for that first topic. You added so much really good stuff. Oh, and of course the second topic as well. I love reading the chat. There's always useful information there, and anyone who gives a topic, please do check out the chat. Even if it distracts you from hearing us sometimes, it's probably worth it. What they're saying is good. So it also shares more perspective than just two gentlemen up here who talk to each other enough that we share a very common perspective. And so it's nice to have other people with outside influences and just to share their points of views on things, because there's wisdom everywhere, and it's really useful. Yeah.
But it's a good thing Ryan and I talk to each other on a regular basis, and we know each other pretty well because we're in charge of this show, doggone it.
Yeah, that's true. We are. And you have to deal with it. I mean, you could leave if you want, but that's not allowed.
All right.
Yeah. And we're just gonna leave it on here for the next 48 hours. So have fun. We're gonna leave us, but you guys have to stay here. No, of course not. But we do love you, and we appreciate that you guys are here with us, and we appreciate this show. It's so great. Yeah, you're so welcome. Definitely feel inspired to try and reach beyond the reaction and choose love. That's lovely. That's awesome.
Very true. That's very true. A lot of times our reactions are deceiving. A lot of times our emotional response, like how we react, is deceptive, right? So we might react a certain way, but then when we think about it, we're kind of, oh, wait, because we get hurt, we get jabbed, we get stuck, whatever, all kinds of stuff. And we have an emotional response, or we have an emotional reaction before we have time to choose a response. But we do have a choice of how to respond, even when we're unaware of that choice because of habit or because of just emotional overwhelm or whatever, right? We still can choose to respond.
Mm-hmm.
And to choose love, that's so glorious. And
absolutely.
And it's a lifetime quest. Don't expect yourself to be perfect at it right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Don't
absolutely.
expect to be perfect at it 5 years from now.
You'll never be perfect
at it. This is something to continue to work on and continue to get better at. But the better you get at it, the more free you feel, the more secure you feel, the more solid you feel. All of that stuff, you just feel better. And
so much easier to come to peace.
Mm-hmm.
So nice. So nice.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, walk every situation.
You are awesome. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, also, I just want to say one last thing on that note, now that I guess close to the end. There are a lot of people in this world, and if you can spend your time with loving people, you will facilitate love within you. Okay? If you spend your time with unloving people, you may find yourself facilitating that instead. So who you can spend your time with is important. I'll make a little recommendation here. I don't know if Flan is in the chat, but spend some time with Flan. Such a loving individual. Also, if you want some more love, spend some time with August Stars. One of the most loving individuals I've ever met in my life. Spend time with them. And guess what? There's more than just those two. This chat is full of loving people. I know I don't personally know all of them really closely, but I know everyone enough to see that they have acted out of love. Gohei Sosu and obviously Super Neon Blue. That's my wife, so of course. There's a lot of love there. Tomato or tomato, depending on where they're from.
Gray. What's up, Gray?
Yeah, Gray. Hey, welcome. Nice to see you here. I think I said Riku already, but everybody that's been in this chat, and people who haven't, who are usually here, like Baka or Cats or Saule's here. Such great love. Every experience I've had with all of these people, so filled with love. So, and I mean that genuinely. Oh, Olive Oil. Hey, yeah, them too. I know they just popped in, but I would say spend your time with loving people and let it rub off on you. Don't shy away from it. Let it happen and embrace it, and then use it to aid you in the battles to come.
Do it. Also, we are not professionals, and the information we give is not a substitute for professional advice. We just trying to get back and support you as you're supporting us. Thank you,
yes.
Sole.
Thanks, Sally. You're amazing.
Give the legal disclaimer. Yes. And go to don'tworrywednesday.com. Click the submit a topic button, and that will help you to submit a topic. It's not just a catchy button.
Whoa! It will do what what it implies.
Does what it says.
Insane. The government should learn these lessons from us. Holy cow!
Dude, that's never gonna happen.
Whatever. It's a democracy. Wait.
This is me being cynical again.
Okay. That's fine.
Never gonna happen. I don't care who you elect.
Yeah. I don't even know. It doesn't even have to go there.
Right. I know.
I'm not even upset
year,
with the
right?
government at all. It is what it is. It's funny too. No, because
either.
the more you love, I think a lot of times the more you just let go. You're just like, it's gonna be stupid. We figured that out.
I don't
already.
even care. Like I hear news about that stuff, and I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
You want to get your panties all bunched up and stuff? Go for it. Like I'm gonna just chill.
I
got more
chill.
important things.
I've got my little
things to deal with.
I've got my little segment of life I have influence in. I don't need any of that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Great, Tiamat. If only. Right? Yeah. Well, it is what it is. So, anyways, thank you guys so much.
It's not what it's not.
Yeah, it's not what it's not. It's not what's not.
It's what it's.
It's what it's. That's true. It is what it is. It's what it's.
It's what it's, and it's not what it's not.
Right, and it's not snot. But
and it's not snot. You want to see snot? I'll show you some. It's allergy season.
I was sneezing so much before this show started.
You were. I was like, wow, you got some sneezers there, man.
Yeah, I was sneezing before
I went outside.
Yeah.
There's this huge pine tree, like out back behind my house, right? And I look, and it was windy, right? And it looked like the tree was like on fire and smoldering and smoking because so much pollen was just
my gosh. I've seen that before.
Going off and I'm just like, oh no. Welcome to spring. Here we are. Welcome.
I thought you were going to say I walked outside and I saw a pine tree and immediately started sneezing. All I had to do was see one.
Nope. I just looked at it and
That's so funny. Anyways, we ought to shut it down. Thank you guys for staying after with us for 22 minutes. We appreciate you, we love you, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. We're excited to see you next week as well. So, bye-bye.
Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Peace.